What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Astro Vibe Show. My name is Malik Harris.
My name is Demo Vision.
Mackie Totticini.
And this is where you come to
Vibe with the Tribe.
Today we are very excited, very happy. We had to wait for the whole crew. You know, I was filming with Mackie for a little bit. I was filming with Mackie for a little bit. Filming with Derek for a little bit. Fucking me up. We were all filming separate and stuff because Mackie had left to go on a trip, so he just got back from that.
Fuck you, Mackie.
So yeah, now we're all together because we all wanted to jump into this Warhammer 40K lore together. There's been a lot of hype around it. We heard about this, obviously, you know, way back. When we first started doing our lore stuff, actually, Mackie had brought up that he used to play the game. I was looking into it because all the Henry Cavill stuff, which is what first sparked my interest when he first said that he was going to lead that franchise. And I was like, oh, Warhammer 40K, like my brother and dad play the game as well, but I don't know. You know, I didn't know anything about it, so I've looked into it a little bit, but not too much.
No, I was about to say, didn't people mention it in the comments too, like something to watch?
Yeah. We did a poll actually this past month or so, basically asking people what they'd be the most excited for, and everyone put 40 or it was a mix of. I can't say everyone, but this was the highest percentage of votes. So yeah, we were ready to dive into it. We know this shit goes deep. Yeah, hopefully this is a good video for us to start on. If you guys feel like there's a better video that we should jump into after this, definitely post it in the comments so we can kind of help us guide us through this deep abyss of lore that we're about to dive into. So
It goes deep. It's been a while since I've played the game and stuff like that, but it goes deep.
It's just I'm new to this, so I know it's just like I hear it's a board game and stuff like that. Do they have a TV show out on it?
Not from what I know. I don't think so. So we also did the secret level. We saw the episode in that. And yeah, that was fucking amazing. If they can do a TV show with that type of style,
that'd be lit. That'd be crazy.
Oh my jeez. But I know they have the live action that Henry Cavill's trying to basically launch that whole universe because it's all the different factions and stuff like that. Yeah, a bunch of stories you could tell. You know,
it's kind of giving me like the video game, like God of War's type of vibes. Just look it up.
Oh, Gears of War.
Gears of War. There you go.
Yeah. Space Marines. Yeah, and they do have chain swords and stuff like that. But I do know this Warhammer is one of the OGs, so. Gears of War and all that stuff came out afterwards, so don't murder us in here.
I'm new to this. I'm new to this. Not true to this.
You know what I mean? Think like Dungeons and Dragons, like original Pioneers, and then everything spun off of that type of vibe.
I got you.
Obviously, Dungeons and Dragons is separate, but
way separate.
We're not going to talk too much. We're just going to jump into this, and then we'll pause it throughout it because we're probably going to have our questions. We'll be taking notes and everything, and then you guys can help us fill in any gaps. Remember that we are new to this. I know there's some ultra fans out there that might lose their shit because we're talking, or lose their shit because whatever the case is. But yeah, just work with us, and we'll work with y'all.
Millennium exists the Empire of Man, a backwards carcass of an empire comprised of many devoted forces, gigantic robot knights, religious machine cultists, and incredibly heavily armored women, most likely with sweltering abs. And one must know what those abs taste like.
Oh God,
freaky! Yeah, we starting off.
We got some GG Energy sponsorship going on here.
That might have been the best sponsorship opening I think I've ever seen.
He did it right.
My Gamer Supps flavor is here. Yeah. Sweet six-pack has arrived. A delicious and refreshing cherry pineapple blend. Play the sound.
Is this Necrid Evil cousin?
Yes, my Bricky's official Gamer Subs flavor is here. Sweet six-pack, not only in regular energy mode, but also in caffeine-free. The cherry pineapple flavor is not the kind of flavor that just smacks you in the face. It is light, it is refreshing, and it's one of those things where you sip it and you go,
it's weird seeing
not
this
bad.
guy.
And next thing you know, you are having your fourth refill.
It's chilling. And then you got this guy's like super active.
Use code
I'm right here.
for 10% off
Use
your
this
entire
code.
order. Not just for this, but for
Evil
everything
cousin,
you
bro.
buy. And I'm not
I'm
dumb.
seriously.
If you buy any of these tubs, regular, caffeine-free of
Yeah, I'm
my
not even
sweet
skipping this.
six-pack
This is too
flavor, you will get a Muscle Girl 32-ounce
Muscle Mommy?
shaker completely for free. There are only
like
a
the
couple
kudos.
thousand of those shakers, so
Ooh,
get
look
it
at the
while
thong,
supplies
thong, thong,
last.
thong.
I cannot
Oh,
believe
I've
we
seen a
finally
bunch
have
of these.
this,
We've
but
seen
I
a bunch
told
of these
everyone,
over at the
like,
conventions.
once you
They
find
actually
out
have
the
their own
flavor,
little booth
you'll be
now.
like, yeah, that
Yeah,
tracks.
I was
And
wondering if it
damn
was this
straight
brand.
does it track. Sweet
think this is-
six-pack
It's the-
available
almost- it's literally the
now.
same concept.
Code Bricky, link in
Yeah,
the description.
it's the same concept.
I ain't even gonna say what the jar looks like. That's just me.
Yeah, you're talking about Rose City specifically. I know exactly.
Yep.
They have the little hand
Yep.
claw machine.
I
Yeah.
think I see my emerald too now.
Emerald. Nice.
The age of knowledge and enlightenment has ended. The age of darkness has begun.
Well, I knew that nigga was gonna say that.
Roughly 60 million years ago, there existed aliens. And these aliens lived short, painful lives. They belonged to radiation-stricken worlds and often died of various cancers before the age of 30. These aliens, the Necron tier, looked up to the stars and found extreme beings of real power. Beings with the ability to create life. The old ones of the galaxy. They asked these old ones for help. Please cure us of our ailments. To which the old ones said, piss off. So the Necron tier gathered together and did the sensible thing. They declared war upon these old beings and were promptly beaten into the dirt back to their short, painful lives. In the world of Warhammer, there is a hell. This hell is not like you and I know it. It's more of an afterlife, a place where dead souls end up. This place has many names: the Empyrean, the Sea of Souls, the Immaterium, and the Ether. But mostly, we just call it the Warp. While you and I know of hell as a place of horrors and punishment, the Warp isn't really that. Not in the beginning. It's energy, but the kind of energy formed from thought and soul, psychic energy, where the dead souls of people end up in a place that is impossible to understand. No laws of reality exist. Like, time is merely a suggestion, and it is not something that can be braved easily. The Warp would be like sailing the ocean in a pirate movie. To jump from your ship would be certain death. To stay in the sea for too long on your boat could drive a man mad. And there are many dangerous things lurking in those depths. Yet, the sea is not evil. It simply is. Mostly. There are more malevolent beings in those waters, areas that you do not sail towards. This would be known as the realm of chaos. The realm of chaos exists in the Warp as a special area led
Definitely gives
by
off that
3
Doom
chaos gods. Khorne,
Yeah.
the god of combat, murder, and slaughter, with a pile of skulls taken in his name. Tzeentch, god of change, mystery, and deceit, a confusing paradox of lies, schemes, and sorceries. And Nurgle, god of rot, pestilence, and Genshin impact. All things rot
Impact.
in the end. And Grandfather Nurgle is waiting for you with open arms. These gods ruled their respective realm in the Warp, sending their many followers against each other in the great game to be the most powerful of all the gods. So the Warp exists. Hell is real, parallel to our galaxy, with the realm of chaos and its gods fighting for control. But there are also gods of real space, gods of the normal world too. They're called Catan, and they eat stars.
Do you think
Jesus.
Oh, jeez.
God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?
These star gods saw the plight of our poor Necron tier and how the old ones cast them aside and said, you know what? You guys want immortality? Oh, we will make it happen. We are the gods of the tangible, of real space. We can give you a cure. So then they ate all their souls.
Damn. Wow.
and turn them into robotic automaton, feasting on their souls and leaving a hollow shell of an intelligence left that is technically immortal. With the power of an entire species' souls, they turned their new robotic slaves on the old ones and hunted them to extinction. The Necron tier, now the soulless, undying Necrons, got their wish at the price of their souls. But we can count the number of kind gods on an amputated hand. With time, the selfish star gods turned on each other, fighting one another for more chances at glory and power. With this, the leader of the Necrons, Zarek, the Silent King, the man who doomed his species when he accepted this deal, waited, planned, bide his time until he seized the perfect moment and turned his legions of undead citizens against the star gods. Gods cannot be killed, but they can be broken. So Zarek broke the star gods into thousands of pieces and locked them away in vaults, taking their free will away as they did to them, and sealed them away as basically Pokemon to be used as weapons in the future.
It's Pikachu!
I don't know.
It's the void dragon.
Zarek,
So the gods that they trapped, are those the same gods that turned them into?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I thought I had missed it for a second. Okay, Necrons. Man, first of all, I do have to say now we're 7 minutes in. A lot of fucking concept art, a lot of new lore. I can already see how deep these pathways can go, and it's fucking insane, honestly.
Especially the warp, because you got a lot more entities and stuff, like he says, that's in there, but you got these three gods that are in there fighting amongst each other, so you just got just this hellish like war of just banter of just like stuff just is going on for millennials and centuries and what continue on. So it's like even that concept alone is pretty crazy. So
Is there only the three gods?
that's from what he described and what he said.
Okay. Okay.
In the warp.
Yeah.
So everything outside what he's explaining now is the one where they trap the regular god.
Outside of the warp.
Yes,
Okay,
outside the warp.
7 minutes in, I already see. My head's already starting to spin. I have so many notes that I'm trying to take that I'm like, oh my god. This is a great informational video that's kind of like laying everything out. I can't remember in the beginning too. He said there's 60,000 years of.
It's been 60,000 years into their space out in the far reaches of.
Since the aliens came and they've been
Yep.
trying to. Okay. Yep. You get. I know, right? That's a lot of. It's a timeline.
But I like. I will say just real quick. I like how there's pillars that goes with the gods. And they have their certain title which go with them. That's what I like.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna make it easier to like differentiate later.
Yeah.
But no, I'm lost.
I never knew there was a god of rot. That kind of threw me off.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
It's
looked
almost
nasty
like,
though.
Hell yeah, he did. It's almost like I think about like lust or like laziness, like those kind of gods. That was in like Dante's Inferno.
Oh,
because those guys are like the ones that look nasty looking and just
The 7 sins.
yeah,
Type
like
of-
those
yeah,
ones.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
gruesome.
Yeah, this fucking 60,000 years compared to what League has like 8,000 years or whatever they explain on their timeline, I think, or 8.
I thought it was like 6. No, yeah, it's
Because it was
definitely more.
before, it
Yeah.
was before Noxus, and then there's
Then you got
1,000,
12, yeah,
1,200 or something like that
1,200.
afterwards. Yeah.
Yep.
Shit's crazy, man.
exiled himself for his sins, flying out to the darkness between galaxies to atone for what he had done. This entire situation, the genocide of the Old Ones and the rebellion of Zarek, will go down in history as the War in Heaven. It is the most brutal war the galaxy has ever seen and ever will see. This was a conflict that took an entire galaxy-spanning species and pitted them against gods that ate stars. The Necrons, rather crippled from, the War in Heaven, decided to go to sleep in gigantic tomb worlds on various planets until the upstart species of the galaxy died out. And so turns out when you have a war that lasts tens, hundreds of thousands of years and involves the genociding of multiple species, the old ones of the galaxy, and the consumption of souls from an entire race, the warp gets a little wacky. If you had a kiddie pool and it was nice and calm, Korn is over there splashing about, so you don't really go in that direction. Nurgle has explosive diarrhea, so you don't really go in that direction either. But you can still kind of get in the pool's still fine. Turns out when you add a couple trillion souls to that kiddie pool, it'll make the waves a little more turbulent. And turns out a lot of them like to pick a side, Nurgle, Tzeentch, or Khorne. So the once calmer warp, the once relaxing kiddie pool, has now been bloated. A million years of war will certainly make Khorne, god of murder and slaughter, more powerful. A million years of war will probably make Tzeentch, god of deception and change, a little more powerful. And good God, a million years of war will make Nurgle, god of decay, oh, just the tiniest bit more powerful. Now, entering that kiddie pool is no longer fun, it's dangerous. The warp is now a problem. Hell is resembling hell a lot closer to what we imagined it originally. The Sea of Souls and the Realm of Chaos are now intertwined. So who else to brave the galaxy than a species that won't need to deal with that? The Eldar are space elves. They have a lot of the traits that you probably think of when you think of elves. Tall, slender, pointy ears, bit more androgynous looking, no matter what DeviantArt will tell you, and a bit stronger on the emotional side. The old ones, as I mentioned, could create damage when they were getting, you know, absolutely bodied by the Catan and the Necrons. They made some new races to try to help them. One of them was the Eldar. It didn't save them, but they're here now anyway. Oh, and also the Orcs, but they're busy right now.
Those are my favorite guys to play as on the PC.
The Eldar are a particularly psychically powerful race, so they were really adept at being able to handle the new turbulent warp of chaos and good at killing Necrons, hence why they went to sleep. Being psychically gifted is basically like being a wizard, but you get your wizard powers from hell. This is called being a psyker. And basically, if you want to do cool wizard shit like lightning from your hands or reading someone's mind, you can do that, but you siphon the energy to do that from the warp. Luckily, the Eldar are very good at handling this without too many negative effects because, you know, summoning power from the Sea of Souls with the new Chaos friends can be a bit of an issue. But Eldar are pretty good at it. And you see, what's really cool and also awful about Warhammer is that most developed species travel long, faster than light distances by going through that warp. They create a tear in reality to unreality and move through it. Faster than light travel? Cringe. We go through hell itself to deliver your packages. For those of you who play Minecraft, you know how the Nether is like a pocket dimension? So moving 10 spaces in the Nether is actually moving something like 1,000 in the real world. That's basically what warp travel is. Just much like in the Nether, there are a lot of things that want to kill you. The Eldar found a way to do so in between realities. Not regular reality, not the warp, something else. A purgatory of sorts. A fabricated psychic realm that allowed them to travel without fearing the negative effects of the warp. The Eldar were the perfect fit for the new galaxy, and they took it with open arms and pointy ears. The empire of the Eldar spread everywhere, and it spread all the way until now, the 21st century. That's right, while you were watching NPC streams on TikTok, the space elves were ruling the galaxy, and they did so for quite a long period of time.
You got them dad
The
jokes
21st
for sure.
century came and went. Right. Humanity grew and grew, all under the nose of their elf overlords. At this time, humans advanced, your classic sci-fi style way. We began to expand, colonize our solar system, terraformed our planets, created new and more powerful machines and starships. The age of Terra, also known as Earth, but we call it Terra here, was here, and existed between the 21st century all the way until the 15th millennia. Not much is known about this time, not much needs to be known. Humanity grew up, saw the stars. It's classic. Then came the years between 15,000 and 25,000, the age of technology, or to some, the dark age of technology. This is when humanity reached a new apex of technological understanding. When you think of sci-fi, there's a lot of things you can think of. Star Trek, maybe Star Wars style, you can go cyberpunk dystopian. The age of technology was deep sci-fi, like a scientific prowess that fringed on magic. This is also when the first ever psychers began showing up in humanity. Individuals with the genetic mutation to be able to access the warp, and then because of that, travel through it. Humanity was no longer constricted to their early ways of travel. With warp travel, they could go anywhere in the galaxy. They equipped ships with gigantic AI machines, with everything you would ever need to know about mankind, and sent them out on colony ships to expand their influence across the galaxy. And this was truly the golden age of humanity. And with every golden age, there is a fall. While the new human upstarts of the galaxy were reaching new levels of technology and prowess, the Eldar were engaging in debauchery. What happens when a species has everything? You can produce unlimited food out of nothing. Your need for farmers and workers, gone. You have dominated the stars and have created a fast travel system that doesn't rely on the dangers of the warp. You have nothing else to do. You have no struggles, no problems, and feel as if there is nowhere else to go. Well, you begin to experiment. The Eldar started harmless enough. You know, you take a serious interest in your species' culture, your arts, paintings, poems, plays. These are Eldar, elves, remember? Their emotions are heightened, more powerful than us humans. So your plays get louder. They start to push on the limits of your hearing ability. Your music becomes different, more deranged. It pushes the boundaries of what is art. The visual spectacle of art becomes more bizarre, more delusional, more eccentric. And let's not forget a very important sense. Touch. Pornography is one thing. Brothels is another. What if they all mixed? What if your brothels were part of your art and music? And what if those became more deranged? The boundaries of debauchery were not just met, but shattered. Next thing you know, murder is commonplace and often mixed with the art, music, and sex. Pain is a common byproduct of entertainment. Whatever sensation you can have must be increased.
Starting to get Berserk vibes now, and I'm like, wait a minute, I see this is going down a dark tunnel. I didn't sign on to watch Berserk 3.0 when I turned this on. Hold on. And I got some questions also. Yeah. We're like halfway through now, and I was like tunnel vision for a moment. I was like, wait a minute, Jesus Christ. I see what people mean by the rabbit hole being deep, because now I'm still back at the tiers where they're talking about the Necrons and the old ones and elders and stuff like that in previous time before humanity. And I thought that's where the whole story was going to take place. And then they went into humanity. I was like, oh shit, okay, so this is where the story's going to take place. And then they start talking about technology, you know, in the space, the dark age. And I'm just like, okay, so where is the story starting? And now I'm guessing like the story is in all these different places, all over the place, or is this just still the history that's leading up to?
I believe this is the history right now. It's still going to be leading up to it.
To the main.
Yep.
Okay, space marines and stuff like that. Correct?
But if we talking about space and it warping, it's probably like different. Almost kind of like what is it? Dragon Ball Z, how they have the multiple universes and shit like that. No.
I feel like that's a whole nother direction. If they start getting into multiple universes on top, just their timeline enough, I think is enough story for that. If they start talking about other universes, it's gonna be too much for my brain to handle.
Because I was just thinking about when they was talking about the Minecraft part, where it was just like, oh, you know, you take the effects and shit like that, and then they found the little wave where they can travel without taking the effects and shit. So I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like,
so think about our galaxy. Our galaxy from this point to this point is over 400 something light years, and a light year in one light year is like over, I think, like 200 and something years.
Yeah.
So to get to this point in our galaxy alone, it's impossible.
It's impossible.
So that's why they had these AI guys, robots, and ships go out and do their stuff for them.
Yeah.
But then they created those warps and stuff like he was describing, so they could get from this point to this point. Not in light years, but within like seconds. Yeah. So it makes it easier. So the concept of them being able to go and reach all these other edges of the universe in the galaxy is seeable, and it's okay.
And plus, you out there with machines and shit. You're not sending the human race out there.
So now we're at this.
Wait, did you understand that part, or were you
asking
what that negative zone is?
Nah, I was kind of like trying to say like, are they going to like different universes? And then he just broke it out to me. Nah, they're just trying to get to point A, point B.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, then
well, sorry, I had to cut you off. Not to like impede on what you're saying, but they're using it for warp gating, but that area is like a negative zone. So it's like
The
almost like a
opposite zone.
pocket dimension within the universe.
Yeah.
Do you know how pocket dimensions and stuff work? I think that's the part that like, and within the pocket dimension, time travels differently. So they use it for all these different purposes. They use it for like magic. If I'm getting this right, they use it to draw magic from it. They use it to warp from places. They use it for all these different purposes.
Yep.
But that space is like its own
realm,
Yeah,
its own entity.
They also said they do stuff in between that realm of going in between.
Yeah, that's
they fight and
transportation.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Transport. Yeah, they do a bunch of shit in there, but yeah. But that realm's not like another galaxy per se.
It just kind of like made me think. 'Cause I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, we going here. You know what I'm saying? We warping over here, but okay, I get it. It's one
yeah.
galaxy. They're just trying to get to that spot a little bit faster.
Yeah, not so much warping through time or anything.
Or dying.
So kind of getting back to what I was saying. So now we're at the point now to where the Eldar has conquered and went and did the research and traveled pretty much the whole place. So now they're going insane with all this knowledge in themselves and all this stuff. They don't know what to do with themselves, pretty much. So that's where we're at right now. So now they're
Creating
coming,
shit and doing all this
messing
stuff.
themselves up and having pain and their arts and all this other madness meshing together to make this abomination.
Yeah, they mentioned something about porn in here too. I don't know where they. I'm gonna shut up.
How that comes in. Okay.
Step brother.
Must be enhanced, must be taken to the limits. The Eldar Empire slipped into a nightmarish realm of debauchery and excess, with the worst of it taking place in a city in the Webway, a black market for these kinds of heinous acts known as Tacoma Wa. Some Eldar saw the writing on the wall, saw what was happening to their species and how far they had slipped. So they boarded continent-sized starships called craft worlds and left their empire, seeking a more enlightened, calmer existence among their peers. Some, those in Tacoma Wa, pushed it to even greater heights, relishing the pain and torment they inflicted on those around them. All during this, the warp, the yin to the yang of the world, was fed by these emotions, by the psychic power of the Eldar, by the souls taken in these depraved acts on a galactic scale. And just like that, Eldar ended. Slaanesh, the fourth chaos god, was
What in
burst
the
into
freaky
existence
hell?
and consumed the souls of 90% of the Eldar population. Those that fled were spared the worst of it, and those in the Webway and Tacoma Wa were able to stave off the pull of Slaanesh so long as they continued to commit horrid acts of torture and violence. But for the majority of the Eldar, their empire died with Slaanesh's birth. The new fourth chaos god, she who thirsts, the god of unspeakable excess of pleasure, pain, hedonism, and
gonna call her
perfection,
Soul
had
Eater.
been born. With the fall of the Eldar Empire came the ruin
number down,
of
shawty.
humanity. Slaanesh's birth sent storms in the warp across the galaxy, making travel between star systems impossible. Coupled with a huge classic AI rebellion,
T-1000?
the staple in these sci-fi settings, humanity began to suffer the age of strife. Now, planets that relied on intergalactic travel were completely cut off. Long-range messages normally sent through the warp were snuffed out. If you were a planet that was great at mining stuff but couldn't get food, well, you know that movie about the rugby players in the mountains? And because of these insane warp storms and fluctuations, psychers began to appear among the human population a bit more often. Now, this initially had them hunted down as witches, because that's pretty common in this setting, but some deemed it right to protect them. Unfortunately for those people, psychers, because they open a gateway to the warp, don't really know how to use their powers well, and they kinda attract demons, who then force their way through the psyker as a conduit of sorts and begin to slaughter the population of your planet. The Age of Strife was a catastrophic period of time for humanity and set back their progress tenfold over the not one, not two, but 5,000 year period. During this time, the age of humanity that we know began to form. Worlds equipped with large mechs for agriculture began to equip them with weapons to defend from alien and demonic invaders. Over 5,000 years, this became a custom and tradition, dubbing them as night worlds, a feudal society of honor-bound knights in gigantic robots that uphold the chivalric code to defend their worlds and honor. A group of individuals on Mars, after radioactively bombing their planet to become inhospitable to human life, ran their entire lives underground on the few life support systems keeping them alive. Those technicians who could work on the machines and keep them operational were revered, and over 5,000 years went from skilled members of society to full-blown priests. The cult mechanicus, or tech priests of Mars, formed in the ashes of the Red Planet with a religious fervor and doctrine on the cult of the machine god. And on Earth, or Terra, techno-barbarian tribes waged war across the planet in a Mad Max style.
Hold on. I wasn't looking at the screen when he said, oh.
The machine god. And on Earth, or Terra, techno-barbarian tribes waged war across the planet in a Mad Max style of blood and gore. Until finally, a mysterious man who lived in the shadows of Terra for millennia finally revealed himself to the populace. His name was the Emperor. He deemed himself the Emperor of mankind. Where did he come from? I don't know. Why is he 10 feet tall and the most powerful psyker of all of mankind? I don't know. Why is he basically immortal? I don't know. Where'd Cotton Eye Joe go? Who knows? But he's here, and he isn't happy with all of you ripping up Terra. So he began the Unification Wars, where he and a very early version of the famous Space Marines, the Thunder Warriors, reunited Terra under a single banner. With blood. Then, after taking over Earth, he reunited the Thunder Warriors into the fucking dirt. This is where we get the Imperium of Man, also known as the Imperium. The new faction headed by the Emperor of Mankind, with a treaty signed with the Cult Mechanicus on Mars to spread out and reunite humanity after the catastrophic Age of Strife. But first, the Emperor is going to need some smaller versions of himself. 20 of them, 18 of them, I meant, gene-crafted sons of the strongest human to ever live. All of them possess unparalleled strategic power, intelligence, formidable strength and size, a real powerful force to unite humanity and stop the chaos of the current galaxy. Speaking of chaos, you ever seen that image of that guy that's like throwing the baby like a basketball? It's about what happened. The Chaos Gods intervened and grabbed the 18 Primarch gestation pods and yeeted them across the galaxy at a whim, everywhere they could possibly go. A galactic game of keep away. So the Emperor had to get them back. So begins the Great Crusade, a crusade across the stars to reunite not just humanity, but the Emperor with his fallen sons. The first to be found was Horus, one of the strongest and most noble sons. The Emperor carried with him a legion of newly crafted warriors with genetic material made from their Primarch father. These are the newly made Space Marines. For Horus, his were the Lunar Wolves.
Halo. Jeez, we're from
I can feel your halo. Thousands of years later,
I know.
and going back across the galaxy from one end to the other into the warp.
I could tell there's a lot of shit going on within the lore, and I like how he kind of like summarized it into like it just made it more where I can go back and do more research if I have to, but then he also got to the point where I was like, okay, I understand.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard because my head's kind of like down most of the time. I don't know if you guys noticing, like a lot of my times, because I'm just like trying to digest everything that's going on and like place those marks. At the same time, it's always hard for me because I have like my whole own universe. I'm always like paralleling it, like trying to understand, like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I get what they're saying. And then we've dove so deep into League recently that's also in the back of my mind too, like comparing those different worlds. So I literally have like 3 different galaxies in my brain just fucking going. And in my galaxy, there's like 3 different, or my universe is like 3 different galaxies all connected by this portal system. And it's supposed to keep all the people separate and whatnot. And you have like fantasy characters, sci-fi characters, and then like Earth with like superhero type people on it. So it's just a bunch of, it's all expansive. It's fucking my whole head up, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you can read it now in the Entropia.
Oh yeah, you can start that journey. That's the fantasy world if you want. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to go back and rewatch just this specific video. I've taken down a lot of notes, honestly, just between like the different tiers and different factions, I guess.
Yeah.
Just between the different factions, it's like the old ones. Are those the gods?
Are you talking about the Necrons?
No, the old ones.
Those are the factions you could play in the games and on the board games.
I know what Necrons are, but the old ones, are those the Necrons?
Yeah, the ones with the robotics. The ones that took
those
over
are Necrons, but isn't the old ones something separate?
I don't know what old ones you're talking about.
Okay, because they kept referring to the old ones, and I didn't know if those were the gods, Korn, Zeech, and Nurgle.
All right, now y'all confused the fuck.
Yeah, I
out
took a
me,
lot of
bro.
notes. Like I said, I'm gonna have to research this later. I've been writing down a lot of shit. So, yeah, as far as like the factions, so Necrons, Eldars, Orcs, Sykes, I got all that stuff. But the old ones specifically, I was like, is that a faction or are those gods?
So the old ones are the people that offered themselves up to the god that ate the stars. So they became Necrons. Those were the old ones.
Yeah, some of them became Necrons. Some of them stayed and got hunted and all that good
Yeah.
stuff. Okay, so
And
those are
got eaten
even
up.
before
So,
Necrons.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So those two are fused together. That's why I was like, the old ones. I was like, you
Did
mean
the old ones become other people too?
no?
Because I know they got hunted and then they had the.
And then they
Necrons.
their souls went to the warp where they
Oh, and then
fed
some
the
of
gods.
the okay.
Or fed, yeah.
That's why I
they
didn't count
fed
them as the same thing because
Yeah.
like they split up into like multiple different.
Right,
groups
yeah.
of-
And let me get this correct. The Necrons are also the ones that are not in control, fully control of the power. So the warp also draws into the bad energy where they transform into different like beings. And
They're the ones
Yeah.
that went and banished themselves into the unknown side of the galaxy. They're those skeleton-looking robots
Yeah.
that took and captured that god.
yeah.
Not in the warp, but outside the warp.
So I must be talking about the elders.
Yeah, the Elders.
Yeah.
The
They're a whole
elves.
one.
Okay.
And we're gonna go through. I know there's specific. I wrote a list prior to this when I was kind of just figuring out like what we should go through, and I think there's like a. Okay, well somewhere. I feel like I'm fucking in college again. This is crazy. There's a specific video that goes through every single faction, so that we'll be able to get a lot more information. That's why I'm trying to take as many notes as I can now, so when I go back through, I can just fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of different factions. I heard there was a lot of factions, but now I'm
There's
like,
a lot.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Because in a video game,
Yeah.
you start with one, and then coming to the story, how far you get into it, you can go and branch off into somebody else's story into a huge different faction. And it also depends if you're actually choosing like the humanity side of the story, or are you choosing the Pacific like the wizardry and like the war like demonic kind
You
of side of
choose a
stories.
different character when you go into another
Each,
faction?
depending on what side you choose, you can, and then they give you a character just to know how to play the game. But then from that story, wherever you're going, you could choose different people that you want to play as.
And just leave your old character behind type
Yeah.
thing?
Well,
Okay.
it's the strategic game, so it doesn't matter if you play
Oh,
as
yeah,
a character or not. You're
Yeah,
still
yeah,
playing
that's
as
true.
that faction.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
you're just following the story.
I see.
Or
I
wherever
see.
you
Joining
choose.
different
Yeah.
factions. Yeah, and even the faction video, I see there's a part 1 and a part 2, so there's a lot of factions.
There's
Yeah,
a lot
it's
of
been-
factions.
Yeah, just 2-part video. I have those separate. We won't do those together, and then that'll be wild. Yeah, and then there's every single Space Marine Legion,
Which is
the
pretty
rest of
much
the
this
video,
is what
so-
he's talking about right
Yeah,
now, from
exactly.
the Suns all the way down to the Space Marines that were all augment. He's gonna tell
Augmented,
it. Yeah,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
gonna say it right now.
yeah.
I don't need to say it.
I know you're about to do the whole thing, and I was just like,
yeah, I don't need to say it.
I got you, brother.
Emperor continued on his great crusade. He found more and more of his sons, reuniting them with their individual Space Marine legions. Leman Russ, the cunning hunter with the Space Wolves. Rogel Dorm, the Phalanx with the Imperial Fists. Angron,
Oh, yeah,
the
he the god.
Barbarian, the very angry with his World Eaters. Fulgrim, the Perfect, with his Emperor's Children, and Jagatai Khan, the Swift,
Shit.
the Stoic, and his White Scars. Those were just
Okay.
some of the 18, and one by one his lost Primarch sons were returned to him, and their Space Marine legions returned to
Space
them.
Cadets.
The Great Crusade saw humanity once again reconquer the stars, returning worlds of humanity back to the Imperium
love
and
they
killing
structure.
any and all who stood against their noble crusade. But in the years of the 31st millennia, treachery would break this all apart. Horus, the Emperor's most beloved and favored sons, named War Master for the Crusade, succumbed to the power of chaos and daddy issues, all because of that bastard Erebus. Yo, fuck Erebus. Slowly,
Hey, I
Horus would
like- hey,
become
my
corrupted,
dog.
turning the Emperor's sons against him. This begins the most pivotal moment in our story, and the one that has like 50 books written about it, the Horus Heresy. Half 9 of the 18 Primarchs turned against the Emperor, and the following years were a bloody battle for the throne of Terra. The Emperor originally was working on a special webway project, just like the Eldar, to make faster-than-light travel significantly easier and safer, really improve humanity to allow them to conquer the stars without the risk of the warp. Well, this big red idiot named Magnus kind of blew a hole into that, literally and figuratively. So Big E over there is stuck on a gigantic golden throne, holding back the oncoming rush of demons and powering the Astronomicon, basically a big North Star for people who are sailing in the warp to help them navigate. The Horus Heresy saw many loyalist and traitor legions pitted against each other in a bloody war until it reached Terra itself. Horus, unable to break through the lines and with time running out, made a gambit and opened his ship up to be boarded. The Emperor took this challenge, quickly allowing someone else to take control of the throne as he teleported his way onto Horus's flagship, the Vengeful Spirit. The Emperor, unable to truly kill his most...
Oh, that's a hell of a ship. I gotta look at that one more time.
It's a gun.
Jesus Christ.
It's literally just like an outline of a gun.
Right? I'm like, what the fudge?
They probably shoot like one.
Blowing up planets. I seen a comment in one of the, I think it was a leak video, someone had commented and they said like blowing up planets in Star Wars is a big deal. In Warhammer, it's just, you know.
Yeah, Warhammer
casual
is just
Tuesday.
another day. It's
I
just
was
another
like,
star.
Jesus Christ.
Just another
and now
asteroid.
I kind of, is this actually shoot from like the big base of it? Or is it just
It's
shaped
just
as a gun?
it's
Okay.
just shaped as a gun.
Okay. I was like, Jesus.
That shit look like it'll charge up and go.
I know, right?
Just like the Death Star.
Moving so fast. I just got to the part of Space Marines, it feels like, and now it's, you know, you start talking about the different factions. I was like, oh yeah, this is the part I've been waiting for. Now there's a whole war, so fuck. All right.
The Vengeful Spirit. The Emperor, unable to truly kill his most beloved son, changed his mind right quick when Horus strangled the life out of his other son, Sanguinius.
Oh, no!
I'm sure you've seen this image at some point. The Emperor then said, "I'm not gonna sugarcoat it," and proceeded to psychically blast Horus into complete oblivion, killing not only his body, but also his soul.
Oh, that's hardcore.
Horribly wounded from this duel, the Emperor is returned to the Golden Throne in order to keep the demons at bay and power the Astronomicon, because without it, humanity would be flying blind. There he sits, slowly dying from his wounds and the strain of powering the Golden Throne. The only
him,
thing
is it?
keeping him alive is feeding upon the souls
like it.
of 1,000 psychers every single day. This was 10,000 years ago. We are now in the 41st millennium, modern day. Warhammer 40,000.
Holy shnikes.
Just now,
The Emperor remains on his throne. The Imperium is a rotting carcass of an empire, a fascist, xenophobic cult that worships the
Everybody's
Emperor.
just gone. Gone.
He's just jumping to. I had to start a whole new page for Warhammer 40K. I thought that was the video.
Well,
yeah, I
so
had to start
bye-bye.
another page.
Oh my gosh, I guess I never played this game. Oh man.
Because
I didn't
Warhammer
know it
40K
was
is like
this
the newer model one, right?
It's still
So
it's the game you play and you start on, but I didn't know it had this much history.
But
this
40K,
much- 40
aren't there different Warhammer games?
It's always been 40K.
Oh, is it? Mm-hmm. I've seen something that was like a different Warhammer. Maybe it's
You're probably looking at the board
games?
game.
Yeah, I'm like,
itself.
maybe I'm thinking about the board game. Because I was looking at like all the OG stuff when it wasn't called 40K. But yeah, maybe that's board
Yeah.
game stuff. But you're just talking about console games?
I'm
Or
talking
PC
about the
or-
PC.
Oh, PC?
Yeah,
okay,
strategic game.
Okay. Yeah, I played like the 40K on was it PS5 or Xbox? My brother brought his PlayStation.
Oh, is that the one with the third person?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
game's pretty
That
cool.
game was- yeah,
I
it's
haven't
pretty
played
epic.
it yet, but
Yeah, that one's
I've
pretty
seen some
dope.
people play it.
Okay, so yeah, all the stuff I saw was none of that. That's why I was just like, oh, I know nothing about what's going on. But I think this is the part where I kind of have some knowledge. All that other shit, yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me at least write Warhammer 40K so I can start this new page because, oh man.
So yeah, while he's doing that, we still got polls up in our Patreon. If you're not a member yet, you can go ahead and join it. It is for free. We also have different tiers that you would like to join. If you want to donate to our Patreon, more than welcome to, and we would appreciate that.
That would be dope. We could pump out more videos because, especially like the voting and the polls are going to become a lot more important as we start to balance out our Marvel Rivals content, which people seem like they want us to kind of get into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Obviously, the game just came out, so is expanding. We do a lot of like Marvel stuff too, since we do write comic books. I've published like 20 plus comics individually, not including Matt getting in his writing bag, not including other creators and stuff like that. Within
he's gonna help me with that part.
Yeah,
so it's still gonna be underneath that belt. It's just gonna add on team player
getting
sport.
There. We're getting there, but yeah, we got a bunch of comic book stuff. We got our anime stuff. We got Warhammer now, and we got League of Legends, which a bunch of stuff. So yeah, you guys voting on which videos you guys want us to be in will help, and you can vote with in the polls. You can vote on the poll. What am I saying?
You can go to the polls and vote.
Yeah, go to the polls.
Or you can get your cousin.
Vote. Yeah, you can what? What? You can go to the polls and you can vote, and you can help us at least kind of prioritize what we focus on. What does the cousin have to do with that?
You can get your cousin, your auntie, and your mama also to sign up just so they can vote, so they can win whatever show that you want to watch. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, you're trying to get the whole family tree to get on board. Damn, sneaky. I see what you did there.
Okay, you're giving people the cheat code. They haven't even got to the free Patreon yet. Yeah, the poll is for free, so if you join the membership, that's all you have to do, and then it'll show for you guys. So, yeah, and if you guys want to see uncuts and stuff like that, that's all the different tiers and whatnot. So, all right, y'all,
let's finish this up.
I know, my brain.
As a deity, despite him never wanting to be seen as a god. Over the span of 1 million worlds, the ecclesiarchy, the church of the emperor, is spread throughout. Inquisitors with unparalleled power root out any sign of heresy or lack of devotion to their god emperor. The other half of the traitor legions move about as chaos space marines, raiding and pillaging the Imperium, while the loyalist half does their best to keep the empire alive. All throughout this, they must endure orc invasions, Eldar trickery, the reawakening of the Necron race, and the Great Devourer, the newest tyrannid threat from the darkness between galaxies that has arrived to feast on their worlds.
Damn.
Jeez,
The theme of Warhammer 40,000 is regression and intolerance. Every major faction in Warhammer has had an empire that spanned the galaxy only to be crushed back to a hollow shell of what they once were due to their own failings. Culture, the arts, personal freedom, religious tolerance, the simple possibility that alien life might not want to kill us is considered heretical and is often met with a pistol to the head. There is no time for these things. All there is time for is worship of the God Emperor and a million wars to be fought. To be a human in the 41st millennia is 99% of the time to live a horrible existence, to be one of trillions of other humans across a million worlds throughout the galaxy. A galaxy where AI is outlawed, so humans are repurposed and lobotomized to become slaves. A place where lack of devotion is met with death. And if you even have devotion, there is a good chance the threats to the galaxy, chaos, and aliens will kill you anyway. Warhammer is a world where you revel in being bad. There are protagonists, there are antagonists, but every faction is some shade of evil. Because playing the bad guys is always more fun. And my friend, you have a selection. So pick up that las gun, soldier. You and the other 3 million men and women in this single deployment on this single world in this single battle will now show them the might of the God Emperor. That weapon in your hands has killed 99% of the alien populations in this galaxy. Unfortunately for you, soldier, you're fighting the final 1%. May the Emperor be with us. Glory to the first man to die, for in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That was pretty good. That was pretty great.
That was delicious. Oh yeah, bring the images in here. There we go. But I would like to say each night, I'm gonna call them knights, warriors.
Space Marines, yeah.
Space
Thank you,
Marines, for
everyone.
sure.
I hope I
like the
helped
different
teach you
universe.
about Warhammer. If you are a brand new person and you want to get a bit more about the world, there are multiple books that do a great job at showing off how the entire universe operates. For the most part, Warhammer is a setting, and often stories are told in that setting with a Warhammer coat of paint. Gaunt's Ghosts is Band of Brothers, but Warhammer. It's honestly one of my #1 recommendations for new people. Assassinorum Kingmaker is an assassin novel involving those night worlds. This is Mission Impossible, but Warhammer. Bloodlines is Blade Runner, but Warhammer. And the list goes on and on. If I had to recommend a brand new novel for a first-time Warhammer enjoyer, these are the 4 I would recommend. Horus Rising, Caiaphas Cain, First and Only Gaunt's Ghost, and Infinite and the Divine. They are all fantastic novels, and they will get you acquainted with the world without needing to know too much. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Get yourself a Gamer Subs flavor. Enjoy
I
the
knew
new
it,
sweet
bruh.
six-pack. And if you're curious and you want, just a little Lord, you can find him in the description as well on my merchandise store, orchid8.com. Thank you for watching, and may the God Emperor be with us.
Feel like he said, if you don't really want to dive into,
He did. And those were the 4 books he said at the end.
and I feel like that book, Fear of Tread, is about this thick. So the fact he's like, if you don't really want to dive into
Fear
it,
of Tread?
Fear of Tread on the bottom,
Oh.
see it?
Oh.
It looks like it's about this thick. So for
All
him,
those books are like that.
my point is, it feels like with him saying if you don't want to dive into it that much and the book's this thick, I just can't. I don't know if I'm be able to do this. I've never really felt doubt about diving into lore of a series, but I'm like, I don't think I can.
What did we get ourselves into?
Yeah, I'm like, this might be the last video. Unless you guys comment below and let us know that you guys like this series, and we will continue to dive into videos. Also, give us a couple lists to guide us through this. A lot of the videos that we do reaction-wise is for us with the purpose of learning lores and then expanding with the community. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who come in, like with our League of Legends series, to where we started out lore-wise, really diving into that. Had a little bit of lore experience, but not like timeline-wise, mapping everything together. So we start out at a certain point, and then we start learning through the timeline and history with people, so people can kind of jump in either experienced as new beginners, trying to catch up to our videos so they can learn like a more maybe digestible way, because we're all kind of having fun talking, breaking it down a little bit simpler for people. So yeah, if you guys are interested and you guys want to go on a journey with us doing that same thing, then yeah, hit that subscribe button. Okay, that's I do have a couple questions too. It's a longer video. So for you guys, where does secret level episode tie into this timeline? And then when it came to that creature, the one that all the Space Marines were going against, which faction does that creature come from? And I feel like this is a more advanced question. Maybe it's not any of the factions, but I remember going through the comments and someone saying something about that potentially being a human at one point, and just because all of the years of mutation and evolution and whatnot became that creature. So I'm like, I looked at it and I assumed that maybe it was either a psyker like the Space Witches, or maybe like a space elf that's like evolved. I mean, space elves I don't think had magic like, or they did have a little bit of magic.
They had psychic abilities.
So yeah,
So
you
that
know what I
could
mean?
have
Was
been
it
it.
that, or was it the Space Witches, or whatever the case is? I don't know all the factions yet, but we will get there. And if you guys help us, especially with questions like that, then we'll get there a lot faster. So
I think I do have a question on it. I don't think it answers itself the more I keep reading over and over again. Just looking at the gods before the 4th god was reborn or born, I saw that they said the war that goes on for a long extended period of time. These motherfuckers continue to get strong. Am I correct? That's pretty much
those original 4 gods, or 3 gods, 4 gods.
the 3 guys, like
Yeah.
over
it's like,
time, like
where are they
about
now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because pretty much all the souls that was killed in their world or their realm goes
Yeah.
over to the warp.
Yeah.
So each one of those people, that thousands or whatever has been killed and filling up the pool within the warp, has been feeding all these gods within it.
And then the Space Marines are all outside of the warp, right? Doing their battling.
Yep.
So they're not even in the warp. So
No.
if they go in the warp, it's like, what is that shit supposed to look like?
So pretty much,
Yeah.
as it
Jeez.
goes on, they just continue to get stronger and stronger.
So they basically showed the origins of hell and how it was created. That's crazy.
Pretty much.
That's insane. Fuck. I thought I had a lot of lore in my universe. I'm sitting here like, damn, you know what? Do I even want that much lore? You know what I mean? At a certain point, it's like, I'll leave that to
If
Warhammer.
we turn it if you turned your lore into a video game, I guarantee you people would want more depth into it.
More, that's wild.
What's her name? Solange? Solange?
Sinch.
Solange? Or Launch?
Slanish.
Solange.
The Soul Eater.
Yeah, right.
The god of chaos.
Yeah, a lot of the names I couldn't. I was trying to spell them without seeing them put up. Like Korn, okay, yeah. But Zeech, I was like, fuck, how the fuck? Nurgle? I was like, how do I spell these? N-U-R-G-L-E? I don't know. Bricky versus Necrit. I realized that Bricky is like the epic version of Necrit. Like as I'm watching,
100%.
I realized like I only can watch so many Warhammer videos before I need to go do something fun. Either like watch Pokemon or fucking maybe Sailor Moon. I don't know. But I just realized
Sailor Moon.
there's so much darkness that at a certain point I'm gonna have to, we're really gonna have to break up our videos or I'm gonna live in a world of depression. What's up, y'all? Yeah, we just wanted to wrap up the video. The video ended up having like some type of error or something at the end, so we were doing nothing but just rambling basically.
Yes.
But if you guys want to hear us ramble a little bit more about Warcraft, Warhammer, Jesus Christ, Warhammer content. So I've been getting a lot of comments already as far as like different mediums and how Warhammer could have acquired the rights to Warcraft and all this other stuff. So we're already diving super deep. So yeah, if you guys want to see more of that, hit the subscribe button. Yeah, love to
Appreciate you guys, man.
Yes.
Hey.
Yeah. All right, y'all. My brain's still not completely healed. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, y'all.
And until then, we'll see you guys next time.
Much love.
Yes, sir.
Peace.